Horror films in general have always had some sort of social commentary. Aside from those films released direct to video just to make a buck, most films have a moral center and some sort of message that we can all walk away from, even if it's as simple as trust your instincts. However, there are a few films that take the concept of social commentary even further, making it the central antagonist of the film, and these films keep the conversation going long after the credits roll. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to creating new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Raging Antibody, and here are 10 horror films with deep social commentary. Number 1. Get Out. Chris is being brought home to meet the parents of his girlfriend, except there's one obstacle he's worried about. He's black and she's white. This almost sounds like the setup to a comedy of misunderstandings like Guess Who, except it quickly drops that notion even in the first half hour of the film as they enter upstate New York and are stopped by a state trooper who thinks it's suspicious for a black man to be up here. At times, it feels like they tried to cram every form of racism in this film into one short experience, but as it serves the plot well, it works and gives a heightened sense of panic to many of the scenes, especially the ending. While there are moments of comedy sprinkled throughout, Jordan Peele does an excellent job taking us down eerie and unnerving paths, and so this film should definitely be on your watch list. It also won several accolades when it came out. Be sure to check it out for yourself over on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. Number 2. They Live. Written and directed by John Carpenter, the man behind classics like The Thing and Halloween, this film is more tongue-in-cheek than his other horror offers. He holds nothing back. This is a direct middle finger to capitalism and conformity, because as soon as John Nada puts on those special sunglasses, he is bombarded with the truth behind advertising. Obey, buy, and consume. This film also features one of the greatest and most realistic fight scenes from an 80s action film, and as we watch John and Frank beat the shit out of each other in an alley over opposing beliefs. With plenty of high-octane action moments, ingenious special effects, and some of the greatest one-liners in movie history, be sure to check this one out over on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. Number 3. It Follows. The topic and culture of sex is different all across the world, but here in America, it is a very confrontational one. On one hand, we had the sexual revolution. Love is love, it's natural, people all overdo it, etc. On the other hand, there are people who judge others on it, shame them for it, act prudish towards it, it shouldn't be discussed in educational settings, etc. Whichever side of the line you fall on, it's of no consequence, as we can all agree that STDs are a serious matter, and taking precautions and educating the youth on it is important. This is clearly demonstrated in this film, as the entity at the center of this film is an STD of sorts itself. You can only get it from sleeping from someone else who has it, and once you've got it, it follows you forever until it eventually kills you. A crazy but intriguing concept, the film is a slow burn but filled with terror that will have your eyes darting over every frame of the screen just so you can catch a glimpse of the It. A sequel is in the works called They Follow, set to release sometime in late 2024. So before that happens, be sure to check this one out over on Amazon Prime and Hulu. Hey folks, sorry to interrupt, but we just launched our very own merch store at fatninja.shop. We sell everything from t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more, so we would greatly appreciate it if you checked it out. All the proceeds go to our future projects, so it helps us make any kind of movies and short films that we want to make in the future. So if you got time, check out fatninja.shop. Thanks again, and back to the video. Number 4. Alien. While the premise is simple, a crew on a spaceship land on a strange planet and encounter a deadly alien, there's much more going on behind the scenes. The big message throughout is how corporations will exploit their workforce by any means to obtain a profit, even if it ultimately endangers and kills them. How often have you heard stories of oil workers being killed because a company skimped on safety precautions so they can make an extra buck, or sending miners down into a dangerous mine to retrieve precious gems for them that they sell at 300% markup? It happens worldwide and is unfortunately often overlooked by the common folk as we struggle to live on a daily basis. This commentary even extends into the sequel, Aliens, as James Cameron shifts even more focus of his dubious corporation and their lack of empathy toward human lives, only caring about their stock options. You can watch these films yourself over on Amazon Prime and Hulu. Number 5. Godzilla. Any of the Godzilla films could fit into this slot, to be honest, as the idea of the film itself was created literally out of the aftermath of the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Godzilla himself is a metaphor of the atomic bomb, a weapon that could be used to deliver devastation to an enemy, but once unleashed, can cause untold destruction all around. The newest film, Godzilla Minus One, once again takes that message and modernizes it for the current millennia, and honestly, it couldn't be more prevalent than in today's socio-political climate, as nations once again thrust out their chests and start declaring themselves as rightful rulers and the most powerful. While I do enjoy the recent MonsterVerse films and am looking forward to Godzilla x Kong, I must recommend checking out the original black and white film, which you can find on Max, or the newest one, Minus One, which will be streaming late 2024, most likely on Max as well. Number 6. The Platform. A Spanish-language film, don't let the subtitles deter you from watching this otherwise brilliant look at social constructs and classism. Basically, people sign up for this social experiment, and when they enter, they are put on a random floor of a giant concrete prison structure. Each day, a platform in the center is lowered containing food for the people. It starts off full at the top, and then of course as it descends it becomes more and more empty. Also, every few days, participants find themselves switched to different floors, experiencing the platform at different times. Before the experiment began, every participant was asked what their absolute favorite food was, something they could eat every day, and it turns out that the platform when it starts each day has one of each of these items enough for everyone. But because those at the top are greedy and take more than they should, by the time it reaches the lower levels, there are barely any scraps left. It's also kind of a huge criticism of trickle-down economics, better known as Reaganomics, which we've seen does not work and yet still gets propped up every so often in government. Either way, it's a great film, so be sure to check it out over on Netflix. Number 7. Invisible Man. While this isn't by any means a newly developed thing, in fact, this is an issue that probably extends all throughout human history, it has become much more prevalent in recent years to openly discuss and take a closer look into toxic relationships and abuse. Whether that abuse be physical, emotional, or mental, often these things are pushed to the side as something to just deal with, to put up with, when in reality it should be worked on and rooted out. So, the tricky thing is not everything is abusive, and too often buzzwords like toxic masculinity and misandry are thrown around just to stir up irrational and emotional conversations. So we're not going to get into all of that right now. Suffice it to say, communication is key between you and your family, or romantic partners, or even friends, and you should do what's best for yourself. This film explores the idea of one aspect of toxic relationships, that primarily being obsession and ownership, which is often a branch of feelings of jealousy, abandonment, entitlement, and trauma. Sadly, we don't really get to see why the villain at the center of this film acts the way he does. My guess is to keep the suspense up and not sympathize with him. But we do see the effects of what he does has on his victim, Celia, and how her life goes from fun and loving to traumatic and sheltered. A brilliant film, it also offers some interesting twists and jump scares, so be sure to check it out over on Netflix and Amazon Prime. Number 8. Dawn of the Dead. More the 1978 George Romero version than the updated Snyder remake. Although he does offer some similar shots of them enjoying the small pleasures of life, initially the original film was anti-consumerism. Mindless hordes descending on a shopping center to get their hands on everything they desire. These just happen to be undead hordes, and what they desire is your flesh. However, the zombie is almost the more sympathetic character, as the people trapped within the mall will sacrifice and screw each other over for their own comfort and coveting of needless products. It even extends beyond the mall segments, as early as the opening moments when the news tries to create a more tasteful, easily digestible debate about the zombie uprising, which ends up breaking down as the conversation spills into an argument between science and religion. All in all, this combined with the behind-the-scenes documentary are a keen look at consumerism amongst the masses and still resonates in today's climate. so be sure to check it out for yourself over on Amazon Prime or YouTube Movies. Number 9. The Dead Zone. Based on a novel written by Stephen King, it's one of the few novels he wrote that involve the assassination of a political figure and its overall effect on society. In The Dead Zone, we see a young, idealistic teacher named Johnny Smith, high hopes for his future and his lovely fiancée Sarah, when suddenly it's all dashed away by a car accident that leaves him in a coma for several years. During his coma, Sarah has married someone else and started a new family, but that's not the only new thing in his life. When he touches people now, he can now see both present and future events. While not everything is sinister, the film depicts only the bad visions he has, which first starts off with a young nurse where he warns her that her daughter is in danger because her house is on fire, to eventually meeting Senator Greg Stilson, an ambitious man with his eyes set on taking the big chair in the White House. Except, Stilson is not the man he promotes himself to be, and in fact, he's an inept and hot-headed dictator-like leader who will drag the country down into nuclear annihilation. So what does Johnny do? Does he let things play out, or does he intervene? Well, find out for yourself over on Amazon Prime. Number 10. Jennifer's Body. This film is greatly underappreciated. Not only is it a cool succubus monster movie and a great coming-of-age style tale, but it also smartly tackles the idea of sexism and autonomy. Jennifer is hot. Everybody wants a piece of her. But there's more to her, a smart and playful girl with dreams of adventure and plans for her future. Except no one sees past her outward appearance, and all make their own judgments about her, expecting her to please them like some sort of object to be used. Incidentally, this is how she ends up being part of some satanic ritual which turns her into the demon in the first place, and then she uses this idea of lust and sexuality to her advantage as she draws in hapless victims and feeds on them. Subversive, bloody, and quite funny at times, I always wished it had gotten a sequel because her counterpart, Needy, is kind of the opposite side of that same coin, where she's only seen for her accomplishments and hides herself otherwise, never truly living a full life as herself. Since she now also has some of the demon's abilities at the end, it would be interesting to see what she does with it, and what kind of person she grows into. Alas, we only have the one film, which you should definitely watch, so be sure to hop over to Amazon Prime, Hulu, or Apple TV to check it out. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Raging Antibody. Thanks again, and take care.